This week in Grace's Girls Club, someone very special, not just to the Huntsville community, but to the Alabama community. I want you to meet Dr. Kimberly Robinson. Kimberly, welcome to Grace's Girls Club. Thank you so much for being here. Please introduce yourself. Tell us just a little bit about you and your title and the company you work for.
Well, thank you, Grace. I'm honored to be here today. My name is Kimberly Robinson, and I am the current CEO and Executive Director at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center right here in Huntsville, Alabama.
That is an incredible title. I mean, everybody, when you think of Huntsville, you think of the Space and Rocket Center. What is it like to kind of be on the leading edge of that and know that the town looks up to you and your company in that way?
Well, it's a true honor for me to do this, and I often say that we as a center have to keep up with Huntsville because this area and the surrounding communities are growing at such an incredible rate and changing and just being at the forefront of so much that is happening in our country. So it is an honor to be here, to be an icon of this city, to be affiliated with such a smart place to live and work. And so we are just doing our best to show off the work that is done here in the best light to the rest of the world.
That is wonderful to hear. Well, as someone who visits frequently, I can tell you I think you're doing a wonderful job. So walk me through a little bit about what your day-to-day looks like.
Well, every day here is different. And so that's one of the things that makes it so interesting to work here. It's very dynamic. On any given day, certainly there are days when we have meetings back to back all day long where we are planning maybe educational initiatives, maybe outreach. We have really ramped up our outreach lately and have been going out into the communities across the state of Alabama where they can't necessarily make it to the center. In addition, we plan major projects. As you know, we just recently completed, for instance, the restoration of the shuttle Pathfinder. So we're planning those activities. We are planning our daily activities in the museum. We are welcoming guests from all over the world that sometimes drop by with advance notice or no notice. So on any given day, you never know what astronaut might walk in the door, or we might have a visiting musical group from that's coming to play at the Orion Amphitheater. We had James Taylor this summer drop by. Or we had the head of Toyota Mazda International come by one day. It's just a wonderful opportunity, and we certainly welcome all of this. And if someone has someone in town and would like to come by, I always tell them, please come by. We want to be a visitor's location, not only for NASA, where we are the official visitor center, but for all of Huntsville and the surrounding area.
Oh, absolutely. And I couldn't agree more that the Space and Rocket Center is the place to do it. So what is it like for you as you lead this? I'm sure you have a wide team of folks that work for you and report to you. What is it like kind of making all of that come together in an upper corporate level position?
Well, it's wonderful, but definitely challenging at times. My background is I worked for NASA for decades, and I worked in project management and in systems integration. And so it's a lot of integration on a daily basis. Everything that we do, we have relies on many people across our team to make it happen, whether we're talking about hosting a large event here with our event staff and our EVS and our education staff and others. It is wonderful. And really, teamwork is what we are all about here. It's what we do, but it's also what we teach and what we put forward to our visitors, whether that's in an educational setting, such as Space Camp, where we're teaching people how to work together as a team across many barriers, or whether, it's us actually working with other teams in partnership mode to show what we can do and what we can accomplish. So really working with the team on a daily basis and getting everything done is just a large amount of integration and communication on a daily basis.
I have to imagine, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about STEM. Of the letters, science, technology, engineering, and math, which would you say apply to your job most now? And additionally, when you were first starting in your role, which applied to you most at that point?
Well, I don't know that I can single anyone out because I use all of the STEM, if you would, components. Science, for instance, we do science on a daily basis, whether you're talking about our intuitive planetarium, where we concentrate on astronomy and astrophysics. We are constantly trying to explain the phenomena in our universe through science. And we also teach science and engineering principles, whether you're talking about our Science on Stage daily museum education programs, or our makerspace, where we're trying to teach people hands-on how to make a circuit, perhaps, how it works. And then, of course, with technology, we're always looking toward technology and how we can be up on the latest technology and pass that along. And an example of that is our U.S. Cyber Camp programs, where we are teaching people how to build a computer, all the way from that simple beginning, if you can say that is simple, to how to protect our critical infrastructure from cyber attacks in the country. So technology is a major portion of what we do. And of course, mathematics is the underlying foundation
Yes.
of all of those principles. We wouldn't have science, engineering, or technology without math. And so, of course, on a daily basis, my interaction with math is mostly from a business perspective and running the business and looking at pricing structures, budgetary concerns, project management expenses, and so forth like that. Statistics and forecasting models are all math-based that we use here on a daily basis. So I really don't know that I could single any one of them out. And I think that's probably true from the first day I started here to today to even during my NASA time.
Wow, that was very, very cool. I know that's going to appeal to a lot of young girls that kind of like it all. You know, I think you shed light on something really interesting there. So let's say I'm a young girl and I'm watching this and I think, oh my goodness, I want to be just like Dr. Robinson when I grow up one day. Walk me through the type of schooling you went through, the degree you have, and how educationally you got to where you are today.
Yes, so I started with pursuing a degree in engineering, and I will tell you, I wasn't even sure what engineering was when I first got started. Um, but I got a mechanical engineering degree from Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. It took me about 4 years to get through that program, and one of those years I spent in a study abroad program in England, which was fascinating. But I finished that in about 4 years, and then I started work for NASA, which was my dream, here in Huntsville at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. I continued to work on getting a master's degree and eventually a doctorate going at night. And so that took a bit longer as I was working and raising a family. But what a great experience. And I really loved the learning that I was doing. If you're looking to go into something like that, find a field that interests you, that intrigues you, that challenges you. You will find your way. A lot of times it's about just taking that first step, and starting down a path to see if you can do it, and to continually keep challenging yourself and pushing forward to see what you can accomplish.
You know, you brought up a really interesting point. I was just speaking last week with someone who told me one of the biggest deterrents for her before she actually chose to get into her field was she was intimidated by the coursework. And that was something we talked about. I've also talked to so many women in STEM, just like yourselves, C-suites of very impressive companies that have worked very hard, that received and earned their master's and doctorate degrees while already having a family and already being in the workplace. And I got to tell you, I have so much respect for that. That would be nearly impossible if that was the only thing you were doing. Doing that with so much else on your plate, and having a family is not a small undertaking. I just have so much respect for that. How did you do it?
Well, I won't say it was easy, and there were definitely days when I struggled to get everything done, especially to make sure that I was giving my attention fully to each and every of the endeavors that I was involved with. So I won't say it's easy. The good thing about women is that we're born multitaskers. And so we are just naturally, it seems, inclined to handle a multitude of activities. It seems that's just the way we're built. And so you have to lean into that. You have to rely on others to help you when you need help. You have to not be afraid to raise your hand and say, hey, I'm going to need some help getting this done, or I need more time, or whatever. And also during the time, the thing that I struggled with was taking care of myself.
Mm.
Also, I think many times as women, we take care of others, and certainly having a family, my focus was on taking care of others, sometimes to the detriment of taking care of myself. So there are definitely times when you have to stop and take a deep breath. I rely heavily on my faith, and
Yes.
just say I can't do it all right now. I need to take a step back. I need to refocus, and meditate on what's happening and where I need to be and what I need to do to continue moving forward. And so it's not easy, but when we test ourselves and when we keep pushing forward, it's much like anything that you want to do in life. If you want to be an exceptional athlete, say a runner, you have to keep pressing forward and putting the miles in and doing the practice. And you just get better and better at it as you continue to practice it in a disciplined way. And so I tell everybody, it's hard to imagine going from, let's say, an 18-year-old to a CEO position,
Yes.
but or even going from an 18-year-old to graduating college, but you just take it course by course, test by test, and you do the best you can on every single stepping stone. And before you know it, you turn around and you've gone a really long way.
Wow. I love that. Can I just have you repeat that about 6 more times and just set it as my
Sure.
ringtone? So let's go back to really how that all started. Let's go back to being the 18-year-old with this whole career ahead of you that, of course, you didn't know at the time. What made you choose this field? What made you choose mechanical engineering, and why was your dream NASA?
Um, Well, I've told the story many times. Forgive me if you've heard it before, but I had a unique experience. I feel that when I was in high school, I received an award from something called the Society of Women Engineers. And you have to remember, this was many years ago. I did not know that women could study engineering at the time. And I certainly didn't know that enough of them studied it to create a society of them. So I got this award based on academic excellence from the Society of Women Engineers, and perhaps it would not have had the same effect. It would have had some effect, but it was even more dramatized by the fact that a NASA engineer flew into my hometown, which was Birmingham, Alabama, and walked across the stage in a blue flight suit and presented me with the award. And
Wow.
I was quite taken back. First of all, I didn't know that females could be astronauts, and I was just intrigued. She was so glamorous and smart and capable and fearless, that I just wanted to be like her. And so when I spoke with her, she said that how she got to be an astronaut was that she studied engineering and she went to work for NASA. And so the die was cast at that point. I said, well, that's exactly what I will do, even though I don't know how to get there and I don't know what it entails, but I'm going to try.
Hmm.
And so that's what I went off. It set the direction that I would go into engineering and go to work for NASA, which is what I set my sights on and went out to do, even on days when, engineering classes were tough, and I had to really learn things that I had not learned in high school to be able to complete the coursework. But it really set the direction of my life, and that's one of the reasons that I am so dedicated and passionate about the job that we do here at the Space and Rockets Center, because I know what a difference just a role model and some motivation and inspiration can do to someone's life. I think it can change the entire trajectory. And that's what we try to do on a regular basis, is to speak goodness into people's lives and let them know what they can do. Whether you're a 9-year-old or an 18-year-old or a 48-year-old, we want to let people know and share inspiring stories that we hope will help them, and give them hope and a future moving forward.
Absolutely. I love that. I relate to you with those engineering classes. All my friends in college, we used to say when the going gets tough, the tough enroll in differential equations. And that was just the way we took it. So walk me through, you might feel like you've already touched on this. If you have, definitely let me know. But walk me through maybe the best and the most challenging part of your job.
Well, the most challenging part of my job, and one that I've really been doing more learning on the job, is dealing with the aging infrastructure at the Space and Rocket Center. You know, we've been here now 55 years,
Wow.
right here in this location. And so the building I'm sitting in right now is 55 years old. And so it has challenges. And so I have learned more about campuses and parking lots and toilets and energy management than I ever knew about in my job at NASA. And so that's been interesting, and I've had to really come up to speed on that so that we can make sure that we are keeping our facilities up. Because not only do we have, on any given day, we can have thousands of people visiting us in the museum, but we can also have 1,000 um, school-age children here attending space camp, of which they are living here on site, and we have to keep the facilities up for them and feed them 3 meals a day and make sure that they're getting everything that they need. In addition to, say, 1,200 here on a given day on a field trip from their school, that we have to keep them entertained and inspired. And so making sure that we can handle that number of people from the flow through the museum to parking, you name it. That is really a challenge and definitely one for me, and one that I have not had a lot of experience in, but am learning rapidly, so that we can accommodate everyone. We want everyone to have a good experience while they're here. The other challenge I will say is just making sure that we have enough money to survive. You know, we are not while we are affiliated with the state, we are a state agency. We do not really we do not survive off state appropriations, and so we have to earn the money that we that to use toward all of these projects. And so making sure that we can balance the budget and we can pay our light bills, which some people might be surprised to know are in the six digits
Oh my
every
goodness.
month. You know, it's a challenge, and but it's one that we're up to and that we are happy to do, and to keep figuring out ways to just improve and be good stewards of any amount of money that a donor, a sponsor, a government agency gives to us, to make sure that we're putting it forward in ways that are useful and that return a dividend and a value back to the community.
Absolutely. And those are very realistic challenges. And I think a lot of times that is one of the things that changes when you enter into an upper management role. Sometimes it becomes a little bit less of maybe what you studied in college, but you learn this whole vast other experience skill that you maybe hadn't even planned on when you first entered the field. So I want to ask you, I know you're going to have such a great answer to this question. Just listening to you talk, you're so inspiring. If you had a message to young girls, young students in general, to inspire them to work into the STEM force and what it would be like for them as they first enter in, what would your message to them be?
Well, you know, to I guess it would be just go for it. You know, to quote Nike, just do it. If you are interested in something like this, and by the way, you don't know if you're interested if you don't try something out. So come to our center and try a few things. Listen, see if something might interest you, and then just go for it. Don't listen to other people that say that you know, you shouldn't do it, or it's not, you're not smart enough or good enough or what have you. And also don't listen to your own negative self-talk. I think sometimes we can be our own worst enemies, second guessing ourselves on whether we can do something or not. So that's really my message, is just do it. Just go for it. Just try it on for size, and don't limit yourself, you know, to just stereotypical role model type careers or anything else. I try to tell people that, you know, one of the things that we try to do is we just want to open up people's worlds and their eyes to what is possible. So, you know, there are careers you see every day. You understand what a hairdresser does, or someone that works in the grocery store, or a teacher. But a lot of times you don't see the incredible jobs and wonderful opportunities that are, say, behind the gates at Redstone Arsenal.
Yes.
And so while we, of course, are not, we're protecting, and they have to protect and their secret projects and things like that. What we're trying to do is let people know about those jobs and those incredible opportunities that exist in this resource we call the Redstone Arsenal right here behind me. And so we just want to let them know about it and let them try on some of these careers so they can see whether any of them speak to them and inspire them in a way that will set them off on a course to achieve their dreams.
Absolutely. It really is that exposure that ends up making all the difference. Well, Dr. Kimberly Robinson, CEO, Executive Director of the U.S. Space and Rocket Center right here at home in Huntsville, thank you so much and welcome officially to Grace's Girls Club.
Thank you, Grace. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
You do the same. Thanks.